Hello, viewers. My name is Chris Checo. I am your brother in Christ and a humanitarian. Some people have asked me what is this channel all about? What is my program all about? My program is just to bring you to the realities of life. And today I'll be taking you on another series of mentorship and guidance, um, teachings on submission and other things. Now, some of you love following certain men. Yeah, so many reasons why they follow men. They follow men most times because of what they can give you. Some people follow a man because of who they are. Sometimes you follow a man because of power. Yeah, you follow a man because of power, maybe in the area of finance, in the area of spiritual manifestation. Maybe we as believers we follow a man, and you see people follow a man of God not because they really love your personality, but because they covet a dimension he operates. It's not really bad. It's not really bad. But the truth is that in as much as you follow gifts, characters are also are also a necessity. I always tell people, I say, in as much as it's good to build gifts, it's also good to build character. But let's get into the series I have today. I'm taking us to Exodus chapter 17, from verse 11. Let's read together. It said, when Moses held up his hands, so I see my hands held up. I believe you can see my hand, so it's covered. You can see my armpit, and as neat and handsome as I might be looking now, when you come closer to me, you discover that the armpit is near the mouth. I watched a fairy tale when I was small of a young man who met giants, and because of trying to hide from the giant, he happened to enter into the grove of the giant and went towards the mountain. The smell he got was very stinky. I will tell you why I went into this, but let's go back to that scripture. But Moses' hands were heavy and grew weary. So the other men took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Then Moses and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and one on the other side, so his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Moses moved down several Amalek and his people with his stone. We were talking about the war with Israel and Amalek. There was a man who was an attorney of power called Moses. The victory of the Israelites was dependent on him raising his hand. But it got to a point, because he's a human being too, he started getting weak. His hand started going down, and while he was weak, his followers did not let him. They had to, first of all, what they gave him seed to sleep, they gave him comfort. Then the next thing they did was that they lifted up his hand, and then they lifted up his hand for a whole day till the battle was over, until Joshua conquered the Amalekites. Moses' hands were lifted up to continue. Now, why am I taking you through this series? Because the truth is that some of you follow people. Because of following people, you and supporting people's vision, partnership, followership is all about the raising of the hand. When you are following a man, you are complementing his ministry. You are following him because you are of value to his ministry. You follow a man sometimes. Don't follow a man because you feel like you are not important. He is important, I am not important. So I'm just following him as someone who is not important. No, if there was no input or necessity for you to follow, or let me put it this way, if there was no value, if you had no value, there wouldn't have been need for you to follow him. Because no man, even as much as you want to follow a man that has value, no man can afford to just have followers that does not have value. So even if you come to a man without value, you must try to get value, because if you don't get value with time, you will have to push you aside to get people that has value. And that is just the truth. You don't come under a man to remain stagnant. You come to grow. A child is under a parent not to remain a child. He's under a parent so that he can be helped to grow. So that is to say that when you're under a man, you grow. Now you are under a man and you are helping him, you are partnering with the person, you are working with the person. It's a clear sign that you are raising the man's hand, helping the man raise his hand. Now a time comes when the man begins to raise his hand on his own. He is okay, he has everything it takes. A time also comes in the life of a man when he gets tired, he gets exhausted, and then he now begins to look for friends. He now begins to look for attention. He now begins to look for care. Now, at that point, it doesn't mean he is useless. At that point, it doesn't mean that he cannot go further anymore. At that point, it doesn't mean that he has stopped becoming himself. Now, don't forget, a wounded lion is still a lion. A wounded lion can never stop being a lion. A wounded lion have not lost his strength as a lion. Now you see the account of Moses. Moses was weak. His hands were weak. They even had to give him. It was not just his hand, but his locomotive movement, his medium of movement was weak. They had to go to the essence of giving him something to sit down, just like I am doing. And because he was weak, they had to give him something to sit down, and because of that, they supported his hand so that he can. So you see that while he was still weak and tired, and every joint and part of his body were being disintegrated, he has not stopped becoming Moses. That personality, that ability, that thing that he carries has not left him. It has not left him. No matter how weak a man is, what makes him is not the body. The body can get weak, but his real personality, who is the spirit man, is still very, very much alive. Never abuse a man because he is weak. Never abuse a man because you feel his handicap. Never get too familiar with a man because he made himself too open and too close to you, and you now feel like, I know him now. I know what he's going through. I know that he doesn't have money in his pocket. Yes, I also know he is sick. I know he is sick. That he is down does not negate the fact that he is still a great man. That what am I trying to tell you? That in course of raising the hands of a man, you will smell his armpit. You will see his weaknesses. You will see everything. You will come closer. It's as closer as you come that you begin to see. The more closer you come, the more you see. The more closer you come, the more you begin to see fault. You begin to see offenses. You begin to see everything. But the pressure on you, when you make that offense a problem, you kill yourself. And repeat again, when you make those weaknesses your problem, you kill yourself. What is the advice? Focus. There is something that brought you or that connected you to that man. That man, the man I'm talking about, could be a male man, it could be, he just figurated as a man. It could be a male man, it could be a female man. But whichever kind of a man it is, whoever it is that you follow, focus on the purpose for which you are following. Some of you are students in school and you are following a young man who is intellectually sound, and then because of following him, you discover that he has a whole lot of weaknesses. His weakness shouldn't entice you. His weakness shouldn't make you feel awkward. He's intelligent, right? And you want him to put you through school. Focus. That is the main target. Focus on the purpose. For me, there were a lot of people ask me a question saying, I have a friend. He has a bad character, but he has all I need for academic success. He is a reader. He can study. He can teach. Focus on the teaching. When you go there, try as much as you can to focus on that teaching, on the purpose for which you have met him. Every other thing surrounding his life is not your business. When you're following a man, be focused on what brought you to that man. Every other thing around him that sounds like a weakness is not your business. Now, if it concerns you, then automatically you should be able to find a mechanism to correct or put them into place. But a situation whereby it is not possible, focus on your business. Now, I would just want to take you to a rundown of things I discovered while on this account. There are 6 lessons I learned. The first lesson I learned was law. Now, if there was no law for Moses, Aaron and Hur would not have been so fast to help him. So they saw he was weak. They knew he was weak. And they gathered together and said, let us help him. raise his hands. And then what they do, they first gave him seats so that he can gain power. And then they now raise his hand. I don't want to get into much mystery because I want to elongate much on the video. The next thing I discovered is sacrifice. They were willing to make sacrifice. If it was not by sacrifice, I tell you, they would not have been able to endure till the next day. Now you talk about willingness. Willingness in service. They didn't need anybody to motivate them. They didn't need anybody to put them through. They didn't need anybody to advise them or to start giving them, oh man, some of you need someone to push you to do this, to do that. It's not bad. There are situations whereby some persons need push. But let me tell you, there's something my mom always told me when I was very small. She said, the encouragement you give yourself is better than the encouragement a man gives you. She said, the advice you give yourself is better than the advice anybody can give. Now the question is this. I might even be giving you an advice. What I'm giving you now is an advice. I am motivating you, yes. I am admonishing you. But the question is this. The motivation you give yourself, the advice you give yourself is better than any advice I can give you or anybody around you. Whether it be your mentor, be it your spiritual father, be it your uncle, be it your mother, your father. If you don't sit up and motivate yourself, all their motivations will fall on dead ground. Because after every motivation, there's always a trial point. There's always a period where your tenacity, where your doggedness will have to be tested, where you have to be consistent. But let me not go there. The next point, which was the first one, is endurance. What does it mean to endure? To endure. You endure. In the midst of pain, you endure. You take the pain. You take the suffering. There's an understanding, and that's as a result of willingness. You are already motivated within you. Now you can endure. Then you now talk about patience. This is the fifth one. What is patience? To wait. They waited. The battle was intense, but they waited. While they were raising the hand of Moses, automatically I believe their hands also started paining them, but they were patient. They waited. They didn't say, you're tired. Oh yeah, you send someone else should come. We can't be the only one raising his hand. You two come and raise his hand too. You know the only me there here. You have failed it. You were there for a purpose. You were not there because of anybody. You are not there. The assignment in your life was given to you, not to anybody. Anybody around you is there to support you, but whatever sacrifice you are making now, you are making it for your destiny. First for yourself and your destiny. There's no need of calling on that person or doing eye service or waiting for anybody to come motivate you or come. Hey, if you don't help me, I'm dropping this. After all, nobody only me get the work. Wow, that's wonderful. But these ones, we are patient. Then the next aspect is consistency. The Bible said they held his hand steadily. They were steady in holding his hand. They didn't stop. They had love. They had the debut of the act of sacrifice. They were willing. That is motivated. They endured even when their hands were paining them. Even though they had to adjust too many discussions, just to make sure, too many positions, just to make sure that the hand of Moses released. You know what I mean when you have to raise your hand? Sometimes you raise your hand. Sometimes you have to do like this. Sometimes you have to do like this. You have to keep taking no manner of pictures. Why are you doing all those things? Because you just want to keep this hand. How many times have you been told to raise your hand in church? And then the man of God is praying and praying and praying and praying and praying. Or your worship leader is worshiping and then you are like, unless you can feel that. Now, but look at in this account, this is Moses for you. Moses' hand was raised. And they had to be patient. Now you see what he was doing. Love. They got sacrifice. Then sacrifice. The act of sacrifice, but willingness. And then willingness, endurance. And then endurance, patience. Then consistency. Consistency is the mother of success. Where there is consistency, automatically there will be commitment. Don't be conscious of a man's weakness. You ought to be the armor bearer of whoever you go. Don't be too conscious of their weakness. Sometimes they might come and they scold you in a time that you are not. Now we are in a generation of men who doesn't like being scolded. But the truth is this. Sometimes when you are scolded, we are always too fast to pick. Yes, I was scolded. This is the way you scolded. But the question is, what is the essence after of being scolded? What is the love behind it? Some people love the people that will come and pet you from the back to the front, and then they'll still go back to your back, and then they'll give you a hearty. They'll go to the back and they'll mock you. They'll pet you, they don't give you solution. You open up yourself, tell them all of your problems, they have no solution for you. They only sympathize with you. We love sympathy. That is how we love sympathy. So because of sympathy, you now conclude that this person understands. Is sympathy your yardstick for weighing understanding? But when you are scolded, when you are being hit, the Bible says, "He that the Father loves, he chastises." You know the chastisement we're talking about. Go back to the Hebrews, the Romans in those times. You see what was Jesus was whipped with. That is what chastisement in the Hebrew. That is what chastisement means. That's a little ball that has thorns all over. Once one hit on you takes out a skin from you. Automatically it will pain you. But Jesus had to endure. He didn't look at the pain. He didn't look at the weaknesses. He didn't look at their selfishness. He ignored. Why? I would say, for the glory ahead of him, he enjoyed the suffering. So I don't know whatever you're going through. I don't know what you are seeing. I don't know the distractions you are facing in your place of service. It could be your place of work. It mustn't necessarily be church. It could be in your family. Wherever it is and you see yourself serving. Oh, you that young man or that young lady that is on apprenticeship under a boss. You might need to let go of his armpits and concentrate on making sure his hand is raised. Because the truth is this: if the hand of Moses were not raised, they all would have died in the battle, including those holding the hand. Even Moses might actually escape, but the rest will certainly go. But for everyone to be victorious in this battle, there are few men who needs to make it happen. You might be that man watching you. Make up your mind. Make the sacrifice. Have the love of God. Be willing. Endure the pain. Wait. Be patient, because even your waiting will pay you for waiting. Your waiting will pay you for waiting. Then finally, be consistent. Never give up. Keep pushing. Say that's it. And the Lord bless you. I pray that the spirit that taking us and mortal body will quicken you in your weakness.
Don't forget to subscribe and also click the bell button. Share and invite your friends. We have much more coming. God bless you.